There are two universal identities all the Hyumuhmans should hold above all other identities, the great unifiers. These two identities hold the key to connecting all the Hyumuhmans to each other and to the greater. Individual Hyumuhmans have minds where ideas appear. These ideas contribute to a Hyumuhman's sense of self, which is closely tied to their identity. Hyumuhmans often associate their identity with specific ideas, forming a personal identity. Individual Hyumuhmans live in multiple systems and structures called tribes, which are groups organized around shared ideas. These tribes range in scale from small to large. This scales from families, friends, co-workers, towns, hobbies, interests, cities, regions, provinces, political parties, countries, races, religions, languages, ideologies, beliefs, sexes, humanity, animals, all life on Earth, and all life and intelligence in the universe through time. Hyumuhmans associate their sense of self and form their identity around these varying groups and their connection to them. This association creates a spectrum, with individual Hyumuhmans at one end and all life and intelligence in the universe at the other. Each group, from small personal circles to the vast expanse of universal life, forms a continuum that influences a Hyumuhman's identity, sense of belonging, and connection to the greater. Groups hold more power than individual Hyumuhmans and have different priorities. The importance related to the group might not align with the importance related to the individual. The interests of the individual and the group are in tension, as are the interests of the group and the collective, and the individual and the collective. Groups are stuck in between the individual and the collective. Each individual should hold two primary identities. The first is unique individual. The second is life form, or intelligence in the universe through time. These are the two unifying identities that anything with interests can fit into, one and all, the individual and the collective. All other identities are group identities and by definition exclusionary. They must come secondary and should be derived from the two primary universal identities. The interests of any group should be derived from the interests of the two universal identities. The solution is a system and structure that provides a map of these interests and a way to identify and mediate the trade-offs between them. That decentralizes power to individual Hyumuhmans, allowing them to determine what is true and what to do about it at a global scale. This system and structure must supersede the largest groups today, not by centralizing power in any individual Hyumuhman, but by distributing power to all individual Hyumuhmans through an organizational system and structure that is controlled by all the individual Hyumuhmans who use it. Only the word God stands before the words the greater good in being the fewest syllables that can justify any great atrocity. The idea of the greater is a dangerous one. This does not mean there is no greater good, or that its use only results in atrocity. Just as it is true that there is tragedy of individuals perpetrated in the name of the greater good, there is the tragedy of the commons perpetrated in the name of the individual. Connect the interests and actions of the individual to the interests of the collective, the individual to the greater, to all life forms and intelligence in the universe. Determine the interests of both, where they align, and where there is tension between the two. Then determine the trade-offs and find the optimal balance. When this balance is found, record it for all to see. Then the individual Hyumuhmans can all see what the important interests of the collective are, allowing them to identify with it. Then they can take actions that they know is in the interest of both individuals and the collective. This connects the individual to the greater. Then, when the identity of the individual is tied to the greater, the individual and the greater must tie all the groups to them. Each interest of every group must be recorded and align with and be derivative of the interests of individuals and the collective. This ensures small groups of individuals or single individuals with power over the group use it in a way that aligns with the interests of individuals and the collective. A system where the representation of all the groups is made up of all the individuals. There is no official group ideas. The groups are emergent, based on Hyumuhmans, identifying an idea as important or interacting with it. It will allow the Hyumuhmans to separate and identify the ideas of those in the in-group who have selected it as an idea they believe is important, and the out-group that believe other ideas are important but are interacting with it. Rather than being able to see the identity of specific Hyumuhmans in the system, the Hyumuhmans will be able to see ideas and categories of ideas. If there is a group of ideas that a number of individuals believe is important, the other ideas those individuals believe are important will be linked to it. This will create a fractal web of all the important Hyumuhman ideas that all the Hyumuhmans can see. The ideas will be linked to both the Hyumuhmans that believe they are most important and the Hyumuhmans that believe they are important enough ideas to engage with, but not the identity of the individuals that are submitting the ideas. The focus will be on the ideas, rather than the identities that are so closely linked to the drama that activates Hyumuhman monkey brains. The Hyumuhmans will be able to assess individual ideas more rationally when they are not tied to specific individual Hyumuhman identities. The Hyumuhmans will be able to more easily see the ideas as existing in a fractal web independent from Hyumuhman identity. That identity emerges around ideas. Hyumuhmans feel emotionally connected to, and that separating the identity from ideas is at times useful for comparing and assessing them in a universal manner. All the important ideas exist together. A universal format, a single place where they can be sorted into a universal map of important Hyumuhman ideas. It is alive and growing through time. A path is created directly from the individual to the greater. The circle is complete. My life is not bad. My life is not good. I do not have much. I do not want much. Like so many others, it just is empty, alone. I have no distractions. I have let go, searching for meaning, for purpose, for a connection to the greater. Searching for what I should do and how I will survive doing it. When you understand the simple act of existence itself to be the most interesting experience, what other experience can compare? But simply existing is not very useful. They say you choose your sacrifices. I have chosen to sacrifice everything, to say no to everything, until there is something important enough to say yes to. What is the most important thing a single Hyumuhman can do? What is important enough to say yes to? Ideas keep entering my brain. They wind themselves together. The roots run deep into my mind. The pressure builds. They're beginning to come out, to burst forth into reality. The seed is growing, a way to help all the Hyumuhmans, to connect all the Hyumuhmans to each other, and to the greater, a system and structure for collective ideation, reasoning, and truth determination. Is this important enough to say yes to? Is this meaning? Who am I? I am just an ant, alone, without resources. What can one ant do alone? Should you help the ant? What is the most important thing a Hyumuhman can do with their time and resources? Have you been searching for a connection to something greater? If all the ants invest just a small amount of time and resources, how large could the seed grow? That is for you to decide. There are links in the description. Share, like, subscribe, or join.